I often get the question, how long is this going to take? How long does it take to start feeling better? For everyone, it's a little bit different. So some people have more significant issues. Other people have relatively minor issues. Pelvis is just mispositioned. They can't expand the rib cage to breathe. It's not a big deal. Other people, they have many more challenges. So another way to think of it is how long will, if I get the question, how long will it take to get better? Because that's, again, everyone, I understand people are impatient. They've been in pain for a long time. They want to feel better much more quickly. So my response, and this is a little bit more abstract, but then I'm going to explain why I'm saying it like this. So how long will it take to get better? It depends upon how threatened your brain feels. That's going to sound strange, I understand. But pain is an indication from your brain. It is an indication that something has to change, that a behavior has to change, that you need to do something different. The problem is, you don't know what that is. Now, if you have an injury, like you sprain your ankle, the pain is pretty obvious. The pain is saying, don't put weight on this ankle so that it can heal. So direct injuries are very simple. Illness and disease, something different. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you just have back pain, knee pain, hip pain, pain in various areas, or just tension, that is something different. That is what they often call idiopathic pain, and because you don't know where it's of unknown origins. And that type of pain is usually indicative, from a PRI perspective, of a body that can't shift from left to right equally. Because as you've seen videos, I'm hoping you've watched other videos that'll make more sense. Left AIC pattern, right BC pattern, perhaps right TMCC pattern. It just means you're stuck on your right side. You're overusing right side musculature, and you're underusing the left side. And when you do use the left side, you're using it with compensatory muscle activity. So for example, instead of using your left hamstring and your left glute medius and your left adductor to stabilize your left leg, you're using your hip flexors and your lower back muscles to stabilize the left leg and the pelvis. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. The degree of compensation that's going on, or the duration of compensation that's going on, the duration that the degree of compensation has been going on, will all lead to how long it takes to get better. Because as you're in a pattern for longer, and as compensation is continuing to occur over longer periods of time, or the amount of compensations that have occurred in various areas of the body, all of those will come together to produce pain and threat. So the more unstable you are, say you're stable in the front of your left hip, very common. Say you are unstable in your upper right shoulder area, very common. Maybe in your neck, again, not too uncommon. Maybe in the ankles. All these areas of instability come together, and it is more and more threat. Now, what is that threat? As a human being, you have two main goals: breathe and eat and drink, but I'm just going to say eat. You need to get air and you need to find food. Now, breathing is relatively simple in the fact that we can just sit still and breathe. Doesn't mean we're breathing properly, does not mean we're using our diaphragms properly, particularly the left diaphragm. That's what so much of this is about. But you don't have to move, besides the expansion of your rib cage and contraction of the rib cage, you don't have to physically move to breathe. Now, to get food, however, that's different. You are an upright walking human being, most of you. Not making light of the fact that some people are in wheelchairs. If you are an upright walking human being, you have to stand up and you have to deal with gravity. The moment you stand up, gravity is trying to push you down. Walking forward is controlled falling. You pick one foot up, you put it down. You pick the other foot up, you put it down. Each time you're stepping forward, you are falling and catching yourself. Fall and catch, fall and catch, fall and catch. That is normal walking. That is planned. That is planned falling. Unplanned falling is called tripping. It's called thinking there's one extra step and there is no step there, and it's very jarring. Your brain was unprepared. It thought that there was going to be another step, and it was because it was in preparation for that other step, it was organizing muscle function that would correspond with another step. Now that step isn't there, your muscle function's all off, and that's why it's so jarring, and you trip and you stumble and it freaking hurts, and it's just like, whoa, what the hell just happened? So walking is planned. Catch and fall, catch and fall, catch and fall. So your brain doesn't want to fall because you'll get hurt. So threat comes in a few different ways. There's three, I'm going to say three external, but they're not really external. Three areas of threat that really cause us to tighten up as a pattern or in a protective mechanism, because that's how you can think of these patterns. Vision, that's probably that is the strongest. If you can't see properly, your muscle function is not going to occur properly, and your brain can't sense where you are in space. And if you can't figure out where you are in space, that is a threat, because you might fall or you might knock into something. It's a threat. I was helping out at the PRI seminar in New York, the pelvis restoration seminar. My friend, who I'd worked with twice over the summer, she kept testing as a PEC. Now I know she's not a PEC, because she was neutral. So during the summertime, she was neutral, and she was starting to feel a little bit better. She had right glute pain or piriformis pain, and I knew she shouldn't be technically a PEC. So I said, when she was testing, she didn't have her glasses on. I told her to get her glasses. She came back, she had her glasses on. She was neutral. So for her, she has to wear her glasses. If you can't see, your head is going to start to come forward as you try to make sense of things in the front. And the moment your head comes forward, your neck is coming forward, and now you overusing your neck, or your neck will be forced into a position that the neck muscles have to turn on, and they start to pull your chest up, and now you're disengaging your diaphragms. Extensor muscles come on, lower back muscles, hip flexors, and now you're back into your PEC. So for her, that threat is not being able to see. You can't ground and make sense of the ground and feel muscles correctly unless you can see properly. Another gentleman from California who I was doing an online consultation with, all I had him really do was get new sneakers, and he is so happy. The amount of pain has decreased so much because he's wearing sneakers that have heel stability and have arch support, but not really support, but the insole, his brain can now detect the ground properly, so his back can relax. He's using neck and back to stabilize his body out of fear. Get someone feeling the ground properly so your brain knows where the ground is. I know that sounds strange, but you'll have to trust me on this one. His body can relax, so his pain has come down significantly just through giving him better awareness of the floor through better sneakers. Was there another one? Well, I'm just going to stick with that. Now, what is the most people don't have those issues. A lot of people do need better sneakers. I'm not going to lie. That is actually relatively common. However, what is another threat? An unstable pelvis is a threat. If you cannot stabilize your pelvis properly, that is a threat. So most PRI techniques and exercises are designed to stabilize the pelvis, first to get you out of a pattern, to get your pelvis neutral, and then to be able to shift from side to side, which is that frontal plane. The past 3 videos I've made have been really about that frontal plane. That frontal plane, abduction and adduction of the legs using the appropriate musculature, glutes and adductors, and having stabilization from the hamstrings and the glutes and the obliques, your ab muscles, that will stabilize your pelvis, but it takes time. So relating this to traditional weight training, everyone knows, well, the research has always been that the first 4 to 6 weeks of a strength training program, something along those lines, I haven't looked at it in a long time, the gains are mostly due to neuromuscular gains, in the sense that your brain is better learning, and skill acquisition. Your brain is better learning how to use the muscle that is already available. Once it maxes that out, it starts to add muscle. So people get stronger, but they don't actually increase their muscle size because your brain hasn't needed to do that yet. It's just learning to use what is available already. So in the beginning, PRI exercises or techniques, however you want to say it, it is very neuromuscular. It is relearning a skill, which is how to stabilize a pelvis, which is how to posturally tilt a pelvis, which is learning how to adduct a left leg, learning how to abduct a right leg in the proper position at the proper time in the gait cycle. Even though you're lying down, every exercise or technique is simulating a phase of gait. You are learning a new neuromuscular skill, which is how to move from side to side, even though you're not actually moving from side to side at this point in time. How to stabilize, how to get off your right leg via abduction of the right leg using your glutes to push you to the left, how to get to the left side, and then how to stabilize on that left leg. That is all neuromuscular. That is gait. That is walking and breathing, because you have to breathe at the same time without using your neck. Those are neuromuscular skills that you have to gain. And then you do have to strengthen the muscles. So after you skill acquisition, after you learn how to move your body correctly, then you really do have to strengthen the muscles, and that can take, up to 6 to 8 weeks. So if you don't have any of those other issues like vision or teeth or feet, which are the 3 main threats, if it's just a weakness of the pelvis or an instability of the pelvis, which is the majority of people, it still will still take at least 6 to 8 weeks of doing these exercises continuously. For neuromuscular retraining. Now, add on to the fact that some people don't want to stop lifting weights, running, whatever they enjoy doing. You may be interfering with your progress by doing exercises that your body can't do without going back into the pattern because they're just too stressful. So if you're not strong enough in that pelvis, you could very easily go back into your pattern. So now you're just going in and out of your pattern and it's holding you back. No one wastes money doing, and I'm very confident in saying this, no one wastes money in doing a PRI session or a couple because you're human, and we know all humans are going to need certain things. You need to be able to alternate your pelvis from side to side. You need to learn to shift your weight to the left. You need to learn how to get off your right. You're going to need more right glute. You're going to need more left hamstring. You're going to need more left adductor. I'm pretty confident, and glute medius, because you're right dominant. You have that bigger right diaphragm, and that's not changing. You're always going to be more challenged standing on your left leg appropriately. A lot of people think that they're really stable on their left side, but the moment you make them unlock their left knee, they buckle and they can't do it. Getting someone to learn how to stabilize the left side of their body with the proper muscles is a good thing. I may not take away everyone's pain. They might give up too early. I'm not blaming them because I understand it's difficult to understand this. But I know that whatever I do for them is helping. I'm planting a seed into their brain of what it should really be like when they're on their left side. Maybe they'll come back to PRI. Maybe they'll then see somebody else or whatever. I don't really care. I'm here to change consciousness on how this system works. I'm confident that if you do a PRI session and you learn learning how to expand your rib cage, blow up a balloon, you have made a positive impact on your body. If you now know what it's like to stand on your left leg compared to your right side and how less stable you are, that is a good thing. It's planted a seed of interest, maybe doubt in the way that modern medicine works, that maybe that's not that effective. Maybe these exercises that I'm being given that treat the right side and the left side equally is not the way to go because the right side and the left side don't actually act equally. You really can't go wrong with PRI because PRI is walking and breathing. And if you're a human and you're standing up and walking and breathing, I know if your pelvis is not going to be stable, at least on one side. Probably on both sides, at least a little bit. But it also, of course, goes into how much compensation is going on, how long it has been going on, and these are all things that go into how long it takes for someone to get better. But generally, if none of those other things are going on, it's still going to take none of those feet, teeth, or eyes, the major threats. Pelvic stability or pelvic instability is also a threat because if it's unstable, you may fall. And that is what your brain is preoccupied with. Don't fall, don't get hurt. So to build muscle strength, neuromuscular strength, or actual muscle, just the muscle itself, which is always a neuro aspect also, it's going to take, up to 2 months consistently. It doesn't mean that you're going to need a million different exercises, but it's neurological, neuromuscular retraining, and muscles have to strengthen. It takes some time. So if you did any type of training, you would not expect to be in perfect shape in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? When people sell massage sessions, they usually say, oh, keep coming back 10 times. Any other thing, oh, come back 3 times a week. PRI is not like that. It's like every other week. Do these 3 exercises for 2 weeks. And we have strength tests, but whatever. It's not like that. You don't have to keep coming back. You learn how to do these exercises. All these techniques are working on the same things to one degree or another. So either way, how threatened does your brain feel? That is the answer. But the less threatened it is, the more stable you are, the less instability that there is. As long as there's no teeth, feet, or eyes going into it, it's usually about 4, 6 to 8 weeks until people will start to feel perfectly better. But it doesn't mean they're not going to feel better pretty quickly after a couple exercises, because that's actually very common, as long as the exercises are being done correctly. If you found that video helpful or interesting, you could like it, you could share it, you could subscribe to the channel, and make sure you keep looking out for new videos that come out usually once or twice a week. Anything you can do to support would be appreciated, because I'm really focused on getting this information out there, because it really is changing lives.